Welcome back, everyone, to the Late Night Review. And tonight I'm going to talk about the classic Clint Eastwood movie, a movie that I've seen a million times, especially when I was younger, Dirty Harry. Now, this movie, the original Dirty Harry, was directed by Don Siegel, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I got a ton of nostalgia for this one. It's Clint Eastwood at his best. It's pretty much action-packed. There's other movies that have more action in it. This movie has not only action, but drama. It's a good story. The Scorpio killer in here was, I believe he was partially inspired by the Zodiac killer, the real life Zodiac killer. And that's one of the reasons they named him Scorpio. Andrew Robinson was the actor, I believe. I think it was Andrew Robinson who played the killer. I seen him in Cobra. I seen him in the original Hellraiser. In Cobra, he played another guy. He also played an antagonist, not nearly as bad as he is in this. But it almost seems like the character in Cobra could have defended the Scorpio character that he plays in here, just by the way he acted in Cobra. But often he'll play roles like that. He's a good actor. He's a good, versatile actor. I've always appreciated his performances. He's really, really good in here in the sense that he's believable. He's really, really believable. I mean, you think he is this killer, and he acts like it. The way he is presented in the movie, the way his mannerisms are, the way he talks, you believe it. But the odd thing is, in real life, he wasn't comfortable playing this part. He didn't like it. I think much like Rutger Hauer, who did such an awesome job in The Hitcher, another movie I grew up watching. He didn't like playing that kind of role. In fact, Rutger Hauer, I heard him in an interview, he says, "I'm not sure these are the types of movies I want to make." They gave him a book on Ted Bundy to get Rutger Hauer into the role, and he said, "This kind of sucks," but he did that part so well. Well, Andrew Robinson, he did a great job in this movie. He's very believable as the Scorpio killer. And this is one of Clint Eastwood's best roles. Clint Eastwood's great as Harry Callahan. What an iconic character. Clint Eastwood brought that character to life, and he's iconic and is one of the legendary characters and iconic characters of film history. And no one could bring him to life quite like Clint Eastwood. And I think Clint Eastwood is one of the he is one of the all-time greats. Not just my opinion, it's a fact that he's one of the all-time acting legends and movie stars and action stars. Great director too. And this is really one of my favorite movies. I think it's really well done. I don't know 100% what Dirty Harry movie I like the best. I think most people would say the first one, and maybe I'll do a ranking of the Dirty Harry movies one day on the channel. That might be fun. I think as a kid, The Enforcer was I've always loved this one. This one's always been towards the top. Really like this movie, the first Dirty Harry. I think when I was a kid, The Enforcer was my favorite. Now The Enforcer has dropped way down for me. Nowadays, I think I like Sudden Impact, and not necessarily in this order. I'd have to maybe do a ranking one day on my channel, but Sudden Impact and this one, the first Dirty Harry. The Deadpool has risen in that's risen in my mind over the years. I used to like The Enforcer the best. Now I like the Deadpool better, I think. So maybe one day I'll do a ranking. I haven't really did it in my mind yet, so maybe one day when I get that straightened out in the future, I might do a ranking of the Dirty Harry movies. But this is really one of the best. The first one will definitely be near the top. It really will be. To me, it's a great movie. It's not only one of the best action movies of all time to me, but I think it's one of the classics of any category. Harry Callahan, he's a tough cop. He really goes after the criminals. He is pretty much symbolically handcuffed by certain people in the department and certain people that he deals with. And he has to deal with them and the criminals. They try to muzzle him, stop him, they go against him. And one of the reasons Dirty Harry was such a big hit is because crime was on the rise, I think, when it came out, and a lot of people were really waiting for justice. And a lot of people kind of, I think, a lot of people have that thirst. I think it's a basic human desire for justice. And so this movie, much like the Death Wish movie, was a smash hit because there he was going out there and doing what a lot of people wish that they could do without the risk. No, but they wish they could. And when they see him out there and they see him going after these really bad guys, especially the Scorpio, who's just a cold-blooded killer, really played well by Andrew Robinson and brought to life. When they see that, they get exhilarated by it. They feel alive. They feel like justice is being served. And this movie really delivers on that. It's very disturbing, though. You know, there's a kidnapping in here, and there's a lot of disturbing scenes. And this is a spoiler review, so most people have seen this anyway. So it's not like I'm going to give too much away because it's a very well-known movie. But if you haven't seen it, I really recommend this. This is a great movie. If you like action, if you like movies about justice, and if you like movies about investigations and police and hunting a serial killer, this is really a good movie. I think you'll really like this a lot. And it's a great, I think it's a very, very well done action movie, but and it's a great, it's probably in my, I don't know exactly how I'd rank it, but it's one of the great films that would probably be ranked in my, there's so many with so many different genres. I mean, you have The Godfather, you have Superman with Christopher Reeve, you have a lot of movies that are in that top, very top echelon of films in history that's great. You know, with horror, you have The Shining is usually an Exorcist is ranked towards the top of the horror genre. I have my own taste, what should be up there. Exorcist 1 and The Shining are great. I've always really liked those movies, but they wouldn't necessarily be my top. But when you see top 100 movies or top 50 movies, usually you have The Godfather, you have Apocalypse Now in its own category, in the war category, you have Exorcist in the horror category, and The Shining. And in drama, you have a lot of, you know, Terms of Endearment, you have you have the Shawshank Redemption, you have The Green Mile, you have, there's so, you know, each category has its leaders, and I think that the Dirty Harry movie is one of the great all-time films. I mean, it's up there probably in the top, I don't know how they ranked it recently, but it's definitely in my top 20 or 30 films of all time. And I think I might do a ranking of the Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry movies one day. I'm not sure. I think the only Clint Eastwood movie so far on the late night review has been Every Which Way But Loose, which is one of my favorite movies. It really is. It's not for everybody, perhaps. It's been criticized, and a lot of people don't think it's their favorite Clint Eastwood movie. It's actually one of my favorites, along with this one, The Dirty Harry. I'm not going to say which one I like better, because I kind of go back and forth. But this is a good movie. Parts of it are disturbing. There's a girl who's kidnapped, a very young girl. She's running out of air. They only have so much time to find her. The killer pulls out her tooth with a wrench and sends it to the police with a letter and all that stuff. It's disturbing. There's a young man who's shot. I think he's only 12 years old, if I remember right. And he's blown away by this killer, and Harry Callahan has to go out and get him. And there's a busload of kids that are kidnapped at the end, and with the bus driver, and but Clint Eastwood gets them at the end, blows them away. It ends the way it should. Clint Eastwood is pretty much, I mean, Dirty Harry is pretty much fed up with a lot of stuff he's been through, seen a lot of death, seen a lot of injustice. He's seen a lot of bad behavior by not only the criminals, but those who protect them. And at the end of the movie, he tosses his badge into the water, which I think it says a lot. And to me, this movie has a lot of different messages in there. I think one is about justice and injustice. It has both sides of the coin. You want Dirty Harry to go out there and get the bad guys, and then you also see people making excuses for the bad behavior and for the bad guys. And like it's similar to Cobra, Andrew Robinson's character in there is kind of one of, he was in Sylvester Stallone's way when he was out there, trying to do his job. There's a lot of that in Dirty Harry, and there's a lot of that in various other films in the same genre, but this really stands out. I think Dirty Harry is not only one of the all-time classic movies, but in terms of police movies, going after the killer, a cop or a hero, whoever your protagonist is, going out there trying to get the bad guys and seek justice. This is just right up there at the very top. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And if you haven't seen it, then you're in for a real treat. I envy you because it's one of the best. I think if you watch this movie and you haven't seen it, I think you're in for a good evening or a good day or whatever time you want to watch it, whenever you want to watch it. I know this is the late night review, so if you watch it tonight after this, you're in for a good night. If you like, especially if you like these type of movies. If you don't like these type of movies, then it may or may not be for you, but it's good enough where even if it's not your genre, you'll probably get it. You'll probably look at it and appreciate it for the classic it is, so I would still recommend it. If you're an action fan, I think you'll love it. It's one of my favorites, and it's Clint Eastwood. It's one of those roles of Clint Eastwood's that really skyrocketed his career. I mean, yes, the spaghetti westerns for sure, and it's crazy to me that some people actually said Clint Eastwood, one of the reasons he went over and did spaghetti westerns is because he wasn't making it over here. And some people actually said he didn't have the right look for an actor. When I heard that, that's crazy. He's got one of the most iconic looks and iconic voices in history, the history of film, and for them not to recognize it. But then again, a lot of talented people haven't been recognized. And that's a fact. And Charles Bronson went over and did films in Europe and was very, very big over there, and then came back here and started to be more and more successful. So it's crazy that some of these these legends don't get recognized right away, or even after a little while, after they've been working for a while. But yeah, this movie here, I highly recommend it. The original Dirty Harry with Clint Eastwood. This has been the Late Night Review. Don't forget to please like and subscribe and tell people about this channel, share the video, and take care everybody and have a good night.